Yeah. So Hare Krishna. We will start with the Mangala Charan prayers to invoke the auspiciousness before starting the class. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Shwapanandikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Shahagana Ragunatam Vidantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kantha Radha Kantha Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Stuti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangunglam hayate girim yat kripa tamahang bande Sri Gurun Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Hare Krishna. So in our previous class, we ended up here in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text number 40. So we will continue from this platform onward. So today we try to cover up to text number 53. And today's discussion will be how Krishna tried to invoke Arjuna to give up the karma kanda and raise up to the platform of Buddhi Yoga. And Buddhi Yoga is actually non-different from Krishna consciousness or Bhakti Yoga, because Buddhi Yoga is the combination between karma and gyan. So when karma and gyan combine together, that will become Niskama Karma Yoga. So one will act according to one's prescribed duty, but without expecting the result. So this is called Niskama Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga or Krishna consciousness. Yeah. So we start with text number 41. Vyavasayatmika buddhir eke hakuru nandana bahusaka hyanantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. This is one of the very famous verses of the Bhagavad Gita, which is quoted by Srila Prabhupada many times. So here we can see the difference between the devotees and the non-devotees. So the devotees only generally, okay, when we talk about devotees, we talk about sincere devotees. So generally, sincere devotees will always engage his mind 24 hours a day to think about Krishna or engaging himself in Krishna consciousness activities. Rather, those who are non-devotees thinking about so many things, love, holidays, money, house, pets, animals. So these are the difference between the devotees and the non-devotees. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, as by watering the root of a tree, one automatically distributes water to the leaves and branches. So by acting in Krishna consciousness, one can render the highest service to everyone, namely self, family, society, country, and humanity, etc. So this is actually from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 3, text number 14. where the verse mentioned Yathataror Mula Nise Chanena Tripyanti Tat Skanda Bujupasakaha Prano Paharat Chayatendriyanam Tathaiva Sharvar Achuteja. So this is very classic verse, I would say like that, classic verse, because it's a well-known verse. Yatha Taror Mula Nise Chanena. Mula means root, Yatha Taror Mula. So if we water the root of a tree, so all the branches, the twigs, the leaves, the flowers, the fruits will get energized. So similarly, just like we are feeding the stomach, all the indriya, just like the eyes, the ear, the nose, or other limbs of the body will get also nourished. So similarly, Achyuta Ija means worshipping Lord Achyuta, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who never failed, in the infallible. Achyuta Ija. So by worshipping Krishna, all the demigods, they get also satisfied, and not only the demigods, because it is described that the demigods are actually the limbs of Krishna's body. So by worshipping Krishna, all the demigods automatically being satisfied. So also the whole universe actually will become satisfied when Krishna is satisfied. So the devotees, their focus, their resolute determination is just to worship Krishna, because we know when we worship Krishna, that's actually the real welfare activities. So text number 42 and 43. Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various further activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. So those who are attached to the fruitive activities or karma kanda section of the Vedas, those who are, as we discussed in the previous class, actually heavenly planet is the aim of the karma kandis, because they want to enjoy sense gratification in the much more sophisticated platform, because the enjoyment in heavenly planet is, we can say actually like unlimited, because there's no suffering in the heavenly planet. The only suffering is that when the demigod, the residents of the heavenly planet, being attacked by the demons. That's one. The second one is that when they die. So even when they die also, uh, they are not very suffering, not so painful as how we experience in this earthly planet, because it is described that they have garland, the demigods, they have garlands, and the symptoms of they will die is that the flower of their garlands just fall apart. Then that will bring sorrow to them. So that's the only suffering that they experience in the heavenly planets. Therefore, those who are too attached with material enjoyment, they tend to take only the part of the Vedas which is in the Karma Kanda section, because the Karma Kanda activities can promote ones to the higher planetary system. In the fourth canto, actually, there is a very nice incident in the Daksha Yagya. So after Daksha offended Lord Shiva, actually Lord Shiva's carrier Nandi, he got very upset with Daksha, and actually they were fighting. They have some before they fight physically, they have some verbal fighting. So that Nandi mentioned, what is that? Grihesu kutadharmesu sakto gramya suke chaya karma tantra vitanute vedavada vipinnadihi. So in this verse also it is mentioned that Vedavadarata means those who are too attached with the flowery word of the Vedas. The flowery words of the Vedas means the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas. So Nandi mentioned that Grihesu Kuta Dharmesu, those who are false householder, Grihesu Kuta Dharmesu, means false householder in the sense of a householder who are too attached with sense gratification. This is called Grihamedi actually. Grihesu Kuta Dharmesu Kuta Dharme. And whatever religious activities that seems they perform is actually a Kuta Dharma. Kuta Dharma means just like Kaitava Dharma. It's just a perverted activities, the real perverted activities of the real activities of the Vedas. So they are taking this Karma Kanda section as all in all. Grihesu Kuta Dharmesu Sakto Gramya Sukechaya, because they are simply desiring Gramya Sukha, means sense gratification. And as a result is that Karma Tantra Vitanute. So they are performing activities, karma and tantra, whatever ritual in the Vedas mentioned, karma, tantra, vitanute. It's just for artificial result. Artificial result means just for temporary result, which is like wealth, fame, like here Krishna mentioned, resultant of good birth, power, and so forth. And Vedavada Vipinnadihi. That means actually those who are engaged in karma kanda, they are Veda Vada Vipinna. Their intelligence is lost. So that was Nandi's statement to Daksha. And you know, they have some quarrel and ultimately big fight took place. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, it is understood that there are gardens called Nandana Kanana, in which there is good opportunity for associating with angelic, beautiful women and having a profuse supply of somarasa wine. So wine uh, that people experience in this earthly planet is actually very abominable compared to the somarasa wine. Somarasa is just like nectar, but it's also intoxicating. And here in this garden, this is Lord Indra's garden. Nandana Kanana garden is Lord Indra's garden, where actually those who are elevated to the heavenly planet, they enjoy like profusely with the opposite sex. And there is no actually uh, karmic reaction. There is no, they don't occur sins when enjoying seemingly illicit, illicitly with man or women, which is not their husband or wife in the heavenly planet. We see in the Mahabharata that when Arjuna went to heaven to get the weapon from Indra and other demigods, so Urvasi approached Arjuna, tried to have some sexual intercourse, but Arjuna said, no, according to our family lineage, actually, you have been having some sexual intercourse with my great great grandfather, great ancestor, which is Pururava. So I see you as my grandmother. So how can I have sexual intercourse with my grandmother? That was Arjuna's statement, and Urvasi became, enraged. She was actually she tried to explain to Arjuna that, well, we are in the heavenly planet. Whatever rules and regulation which is there in the earthly planet is actually not valid here in the heavenly planet. So it is okay. I'm your grandmother. You are my grandson. No problem. We can have sexual intercourse and there will be no sin. But still, Arjuna rejected her proposal. And finally, she cursed Arjuna to become eunuch later on. So yeah, in the heaven, actually, they simply uh, enjoying. There's no more sin accumulated. they just finishing the result of their good karma. And in the hell, they simply burning their bad karma. Just like in the animal kingdom also. The animals, when we see one animal kills another animal, actually they don't occur any sin. It just they are burning their karma. That's the way of their life. They are burning their karma. So we don't judge that the lion is sinful because the lion kills another animal to survive. So that's the way how they desire the way of their life according to their karma. So they're just burning their karma. So animals and those who are situated in the heavenly planet, they simply burning their karma. They don't occur sin if they seemingly commit some sinful activities. Just like a man who's working very very hard and finally enjoying the result of his work, just like taking money from the ATM constantly. So once that money exhausted, then sine punye martya lokam vishanti. Those who are already elevated to the higher planetary system should come again to this martya loka. This earth is called martya loka, the place of birth and death. Uh, Text number 44. This is also a very famous verse. Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam taya pahrita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadhauna vidiyate. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. So, two things here mentioned, bhoga and aishwarya. Bhoga means enjoyment, sense enjoyment, and aishwarya means opulence. Those who are too attached with bhoga and aishwarya, material enjoyment and opulence, they cannot have resolute determination in their heart to perform their duties in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, in one place, Srila Prabhupada explained that in a poverty-stricken condition, actually, that's very favorable for devotional service. But that is not completely true, because we see many examples in the Srimad Bhagavatam, especially many examples that great devotees at the same time they are floating on money. Even in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime also, like who's that? Sivananda Sen. He's very rich person, and yet he's a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he uses all his wealth for Krishna service. Whenever the residents of Navadvip went to Jagannath Puri for Ratha Yatra, so it is the duty of Sivananda Sen to arrange the accommodation and prasadam for free for everybody because he's very rich. And also we see like Pundarik Vidyanidhi, he's very wealthy person, but at the same time he's a great devotee of the Lord. So wealth is actually not an impediment for those who are liberated person. For those who are liberated souls, wealth, material wealth, bhoga is aishwarya, opulence is not actually an impediment for them to advance in Krishna consciousness, because they see actually everything belong to Krishna and they engage everything in Krishna service. But for the neophyte, wealth is such a glaring thing. We get most of the time we get swayed by little wealth that we have. So this is people's tendency, bhoga ishwarya, enjoying, drinking. Actually, one time I was asking a drunkard. One time I was in Cambodia, so I went to the town for Harinam and I met a drunkard and I asked like, do you really enjoy when you are drinking a beer? And he said, not really, but he feels that he is cool when he's drinking alcohol. That's it. Because after drinking, when he gets really drunk, so he just, feeling like so much headache and vomiting and just want to sleep. That's it. But he said that I feel cool when I drink. This is the foolishness. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, Samadhi is never possible for persons interested in material sense enjoyments and bewildered by such temporary things. So Srila Rupa Goswami also explained that material enjoyment and spiritual advancement cannot go, um, he said that material enjoyment and spiritual advancement go ill together. That means material enjoyment and spiritual advancement cannot go parallel, because it just completely opposite things. Whether you, there are only two choices. There are two choices, whether you choose to be the servant of Maya or the servant of Krishna. The servant of your senses, like this word explained by Srila Prabhupada in the Upadesmrita. Godas means the servant of the senses. Whether we will become the servant of the senses or the servant of the master of the senses, the Sikesha. So here Samadhi means fixed mind, fixing mind to Krishna's lotus feet. Sometimes among the devotees we make joke, Samadhi means when somebody falls asleep, we call that Samadhi. Nidra. Okay, text number 45. Trigunya Visaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna Nirdvando Nitya Satvasto Nirjoga Ksema Atmavan. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. O Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes, be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. That's why Srila Vyasadeva, um, after dividing the four Vedas, because Veda is so big, so vast, and Vyasadeva dividing one Veda into four Vedas, and he, after dividing it, he still felt like something lacking in his heart. He couldn't find uh, great satisfaction in his heart. And therefore, again, after dividing the Vedas into four, he wrote like Mahabharata. Mahabharata is actually meant for those who are less intelligent, such as women, Vaishya, and Sudra. So, but still, after doing this great work, he still feel like unsatisfied, and he was meditating. We found this story in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. He was meditating upon his spiritual master Narad Muni, and Narad Muni appeared and instructed him to start writing the Srimad Bhagavatam, because the Vedas mainly deal with the Karma Kanda section. If you do this, you will get this. If you do that, you will get that. So many allurement, in the Vedas. But actually, as Krishna mentioned here, we have to transcend this. Transcend this, because the Vedas mainly deals with the subject of the three modes: patience, ignorance. Of course, Sattva Gun is also there, but still Sattva Gun is still in the category of material modes of nature, and that will bind us. This will be discussed later in the 14th chapter into great detail. Yeah, how those who are in the Sattva Gun get entangled. So Krishna explained that those who are in the Sattva Gun get entangled by sense of knowledge and happiness. So how this knowledge and happiness will bind? Because he thinks that uh, I'm okay to be here. The example given by Srila Prabhupada is just like the poet and scientists, the brahmanas. So because of having knowledge, they feel proud. That's how they get bound, although they are situated in the sattva gun. And by this sense of proud, actually, they degraded themselves into the mode of rajogun, because pride is the symptoms of being in the mode of rajogun passion. So we'll discuss this later in the 14th chapter. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentioned all material activities involve action and reactions. In the three modes of material nature, they are meant for fruitive result, which cause bondage in the material world. So, good and bad, just like good and bad is actually binding us. So here, in this particular verse, Krishna instructed Arjuna to raise to the platform of Buddhi Yoga from Karma Kanda. Niryoga Ksema Atmavan. Be self-established, be fixed in yoga. And yoga means Krishna consciousness. That's actually the real meaning of yoga. As Srila Prabhupada used to explain that people in the modern days, they are taking this word yoga in a wrong understanding. People just taking the gymnastic activity of the yoga rather than go deeper into internal meaning. What is yoga actually means? Text number 46. Yavanarthauda sarvata samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedesu brahmanasya vijanataha. All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. So here, there is a question for all of you in this assembly. How is the purpose of Vedic culture best served? The answer is there in the purport. Anybody would like to contribute on this? How is the purpose of the Vedic culture best served? Anybody would like to answer? Okay, your silent means no. So Srila Prabhupada mentioned in his purport, the best purpose of the Vedic culture is served, however, by chanting the holy name of the Lord as recommended by Lord Chaitanya, the deliverer of the fallen souls. Yeah, especially in the Kali Yuga. This is the best recommendation is to chant the holy name, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Therefore, Srila Kaviraj Das Goswami uh, in the Madhya Lila, he mentioned that Bande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Tam Karunarnavam Kalovapyati Dugena Bhaktiryena Prakasita. So, Bande Sri Krishna Chaitanya. So he offered his obeisances. Vande means offering obeisances, bowing down. Bande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam. He offered his obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Tam Karunar Navam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is full of Karuna, full of mercy. Tam Karunar Navam. Kalau. Kalau means Kali Yuga, the age of quarrel. Kalau apyati dhugena. So, although in the age of Kali Yuga there is no good qualities, Kalau apyati dhugena, bhaktir jena prakash. So, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he revealed the treasure of love of Godhead. Bhaktir jena prakash. Prakash means revealing. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya is the most magnanimous incarnation of the Lord. Krishna, of course, toward the end of the Bhagavad Gita, in the 18th chapter, we will find Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. First of all, you surrender unto me, then I'll protect you from sins. So that's Krishna's promise. So there is a condition here that, first you surrender unto me, then I'll give you protection. But in the case of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whether you want or you don't want, he just want to give you love of Godhead. Mm. So chanting of the holy name is very powerful. Here, Srila Prabhupada mentioned. In this age of Kali, most of the population is foolish and not adequately educated to understand Vedanta philosophy. The best purpose of Vedanta philosophy is served by inoffensively chanting the holy name of the Lord. So inoffensively, I highlighted here because most of us, we are still situated in the Namaparad level. So as we know that there are three levels of chanting, Namaparad, Nambasha, and Sudanam. So if we inoffensively chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then all the Krishna consciousness philosophy will automatically reveal within our heart. Sometimes we may experience that now we are reading Bhagavad Gita, and then later we read again. Sometimes we get a new realization of the same verses that we are reading, because to the degree of our purification by the process of the chanting of the holy name, to that degree Krishna will reveal himself to us. Of course, in the sixth canto, second chapter, text number 14, it is described Sanketam Parihasam va Stobam Helanam Evava Vaikunta Nama Grahanam Asesagaharam Viduhu. So, although if one is chanting the holy name inattentively, offensively, still, Vaikunta Nama Grahanam Asesagaharam Viduhu, he will be freed from all sinful reactions. So now we understand that actually even offensive chanting is very, very powerful. That offensive chanting will free us from sinful reactions, and offensive chanting, as Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, will actually fulfill our material desire. Our material desire will get fulfilled simply by offensive chanting. These two things, sinful reaction will be finished, and then material desire will be fulfilled. These are the two results of offensive chanting. But when we chant inoffensively or offenselessly, so uh, the real price, the real uh, gift of that chanting, which is Krishna Prem, will be obtained. Okay, so we have to understand that actually our purpose of chanting of the holy name in the beginning level, of course, to free us from sinful reaction. But as we are progressing in our Krishna consciousness practice, so we have to set up a goal that our purpose of chanting of the holy name is to attain Krishna Prema, to attain pure love of Godhead. And text number 47. Karma neva dikaraste ma phalesu kadachana makarma pala heturvur mate sangostva karmani. Translation. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruit of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the result of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. This is also one of the very, very famous verses of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is chastising Arjuna here in this verse, that never try to deviate from what you're supposed to do as Kshatriya. Just perform your duty. The result is up to me. You are not entitled for the result. So this is actually Buddhi Yoga, acting without expecting result. Arjuna was therefore advised by the Lord to fight as a matter of duty without attachment to the result. His non-participation in the battle is another side of attachment. Mm. So to neglect our duty is actually one type of attachment. Although that Arjuna giving very, very strong reason not to fight, as we have discovered in our previous classes. But still, that's actually one kind of attachment because he attached to his family members. So those who are attached with the family members, wealth, and whatever related to the body will ultimately bind us again to this material world. So here, good or bad, pious or sin will keep us bind in this material world. We will remain in the bondage of material world because when we perform sinful activities, we'll go to the hell. And if we perform pious activities, we'll go to heaven. But still, hell and heaven still in the material realm, still in the covering of the material universe. So we still within the material world. But rather, bhakti, devotional service, is the only way how to get liberation. Although, okay, although devotional, the purpose, the main purpose of performing devotional service is not to get liberation, but bhakti is actually another byproduct. Sorry, liberation is actually just a byproduct of performance of devotional service. What is that verse? The devotees actually, they don't want liberation. There are 5 types of liberation. This is from the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Just give me a few seconds to remember the verse. It's very beautiful actually. Salokya sarsti, yeah, this is the verse. Salokya sarsti samepya sarupya ekatvam apyuta dhyamanam na grinanti yenamat vinamat. Salokya sarsti samepya sarupya ekatva apyutam dhiyamana na grihnanti vinamat sevanam janaha. Sevanam janaha. So for a pure devotee, there are 5 types of liberation mentioned in this verse. Salokya, Salokya, Sarupya, Samipya, Ekatva, Sasti. And the pure devotees, they don't get attracted by liberation. Vinamat Sevanam Janaha. The only things that they want is just to serve Krishna. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya mentioned Gopi Bhartu Pada Kamalayo Dasa Dasa Anudasa. The only desire is that to serve the devotees of the gopis, the servant, to become the servant of the servant of the servant of the gopis. And the 4th verse of Siksastakam also mentioned that Mama Janmani Janmanishwari Bhavatat Bhaktir Ahai Tuki Tvayi. Nadanam na janam na shundarim. So like Danam, Janam, Sundarim, why these 3 things mentioned by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Because this is also another byproduct of devotional service. Janam, na danam, wealth. Wealth will automatically come when we perform devotional service. Dhanam, janam, follower. People will start praising you when you, for example, perform nice puja in the temple, performing nice arati in the temple. People will, praise you like, wow, you are doing nice service, Prabhu. Like this. You sing very nicely. You play harmonium very nicely. Things like this. Dhanam, janam, sundarim. And women will also automatically get attracted by you, if you look very sincere. Many people will get attracted by you. Therefore, these are actually the byproduct, the side effect of devotional service. Dhanam, Janam, Sundarim, liberation also. So we have to keep in our mind that the only purpose of performance of devotional service is to get Krishna Prem, pure love of Godhead. Of course, Srila Prabhupada, he produced this Back to Godhead magazine because he's seeing on which level we are now. We are too much entangled, and the best that we can do is just to get liberation. But that's even liberation is the byproduct of devotional service, but still, when we are liberated, actually, that's a very favorable platform to engage further in Krishna's service. Text number 48. Yogasta kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samubhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Translation: perform your duty equipoise, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. So Srila Prabhupada in his purport mentioned Krishna tells Arjuna that he should act in yoga. And what is that yoga? Yoga means to concentrate the mind upon the Supreme by controlling the ever-disturbing senses. Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru. So this verse actually twice mentioned by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, one in the 9th chapter and one is in the 18th chapter, Manmana bhavamad bhakto. Think of me constantly, always remember me, Manmana bhavamad bhakto, and become my devotee. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayar. This is also another example given in the Srimad Bhagavatam 9th canto about the life of Ambarish Maharaj. So thinking about Krishna constantly. What is that verse by was that? I think Rupa Goswami, that Smartavya satatam Vishnur vismartavyo najatuchit sarve vidhi nisedasyur etayor eva kinkaraha. So there are two rules actually in Krishna consciousness. There are two rules. Okay. Smartavya satatam Vishnu. Always remember Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna. Vismartavyo na jatuchit. And never forget him. And never forget Lord Krishna. So always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. These are the two rules, main rules in Krishna consciousness. Sarve vidhi nisedasyur etayor eva kinkaraha. And any other rules and regulation in Krishna consciousness practice is actually meant to be the servant of these two rules. Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. Because whatever our activities, it should support us to help us to always remember Krishna. Why we are chanting the holy name? Because we want to be able to remember Krishna by chanting the holy name. Why we are cooking for Krishna? Because it helps us to meditate upon Krishna. Why we are taking darshan of the deities on the regular basis, every day attending the Guru Puja or Darshanarati, because all these activities are actually meant to help us to remember Krishna. Etayor eva kinkaraha. All rules and regulation meant to help us actually to remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. Only these two rules. Arjuna is Kshatriya. Okay, Srila Prabhupada further mentioned. Arjuna is Kshatriya, and as such, he is participating in the Varnashram Dharma institution. It is said in the Vishnu Purana that in the Varnashram Dharma, the whole aim is to satisfy Vishnu. No one should satisfy himself, as is the rule in the material world, but one should satisfy Krishna. So yeah, Varnashram Dharma is actually just like a stepping stone, which is favorable for our Krishna consciousness practice. Varnashram charavata purushena parahuman Vishnur aradhyate pantha ananyat tato sacharana. This is the verse that Srila Prabhupada referring here. That varnashram charavata, by engaging oneself in performing one's occupational duty according to varna and ashram, actually Vishnur aradyate panta na anyat tato sachara. There is no other way to satisfy Lord Vishnu, which is by following the varnashram system. And also the aim of varnashram should be satisfying Vishnu, Krishna. Ata pumbir duja srishta varnashram vibhagasa swanustita siddharmasya samsidir haritosanam. So haritosanam, just to please, just to satisfy, haritosa, Lord Hari, haritosanam, samsidir haritosanam. Ata pumbir duja srishta varnashram vibhagasa. Because any varnashram activities which is not connected to Krishna consciousness, that's considered as asuric varnashram. For example, like Ravana or Hiranyakasipu, they are ruling their kingdom perfectly. But what? Guess, they miss Krishna. Okay, they miss Krishna. So that's called asuric varnashram, deviated varnashram, because they miss the essence. Actually, varnashram is created by Krishna. Chaturvarnya Maya Shrestha Guna Karma Vibhagasa. So it is created by Krishna. This system is created by Krishna. And this system is meant actually to help us, the conditioned souls, to actually engage in Krishna service. This is the way how Krishna created the material world, and he gave the direction how to act. And that is Varnashram. All morals and codes, everything is actually just favorable for us to perform devotional service. Text number 49. What time is it? O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their works are misers. In the proposal of Prabhupada writes, only misers desire to enjoy the fruit of their own work just to be further entangled in this material bondage. Except for work in Krishna consciousness, all activities are abominable because they are continually bind the worker to the cycle of birth and death. So we have discussed this previously, just few minutes ago, that both good and bad in the material world just keep us continually being bind in this material world, bind in the cycle of repetition of birth and death again and again. Puna puna charvita charvananam, chewing the chewed, as Prahlad Maharaj mentioned. Chewing the chewed. Matirna Krishne parata svatova mito vipadyeta griha andhanta gobir visatam tamishra puna puna charvita charvananam. Matirna Krishne. Mati means attraction. Na Krishna. Those who are not getting attracted by Lord Krishna. Mati na Krishna paratasvatova. Mito vipadyeta griha vratanam. And simply engross in the field of material sense enjoyment. Puna puna charvita charvananam. The result is that chewing the chewed, meaning that taking the repetition of birth and death again and again, because birth, old age, disease, and death. Again, in the next slide, birth, old age, disease, and death. So just like chewing the chewed, we have chewed something, spit it out, and then take it and chew it again. So that's considered to be very abominable. So here, Srila Prabhupada mentioned, except for work in Krishna consciousness, all activities are abominable because they continually bind the worker to the cycle of birth and death. But sometimes we see also those who are pious, those who are non-devotees, like they are building a hospital or school or making road. Can't we say that actually whatever they perform is actually good work? Well, ultimately, this good work is binding them, doesn't give them liberation. So, what's the point of simply becoming good? Simply becoming good is okay, but if that good is actually engaged in Krishna consciousness, you just add sugar into your milk, that will be perfect. Milk is wonderful, milk is good, you know. But if you add sugar candy in your milk, then that milk will become very, very realizable. So similarly, good qualities, good character, but simply being good without being Krishna conscious. So what's the point? What's the point? Yes, yasti bhaktir Bhagavad kinchana sarvair gunais tatra samaste suraha harau abhaktasya kuto mahad guna mano ratena satidavato bahihi. So Prahlad Maharaj said, yes, yasti bhaktir Bhagavad kinchana sarvair gunais. So those who are engaged in devotional service, they automatically develop good qualities. But in other hands, Kuto Mahadguna, Harau Abhaktasya Kuto Mahadguna. And those who are non-devotees, they don't have good qualities at all. So this is Prahlad Maharaj's statement. Why? Because ultimately Manoratena, whatever their activities that they perform is actually Manoratena. It's just a mental speculation. Mano means mind, Ratha means chariot. So they're being dragged by the chariot of their mind or mental speculation. That's it. And mental speculation will never free us from the bondage of repetition of birth and death. That's it. Text number 15. A man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad reaction even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. Text number 51. By thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the results of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries by going back to Godhead. So, any activities, karma will give us bondage, any activities in the material world. Therefore, we are always being defeated by the law of nature. As long as we are engaged in the material platform, whether it is even it is good activity, but as long as we are engaged on the material platform, we'll be always being defeated uh, by material law of nature. Parabhava. Parabhava means always being defeated. Parabhava. This is actually described also by Lord Rishabhadev in the fifth canto, fifth chapter, fifth verse, 5.5.5 Srimad Bhagavatam, where he mentioned Parabhavas tavad abodha jato yavanna jigyasata atmatatvam yavat kriyas tavad idam manovai karmatmakam yena sarira bandha. So karmatmakam, karmatmakam means uh, those mind which is colored by the fruitive activities. This is called karmatmakam. So karmatmakam yena sarira bandha. As long as our mind is colored by fruitive activities, we are attached to the result that we perform. I want this, I want to get this, that, this, that. Yena sarira bandha. We will be always in the bandage of material body one after another, whether it is human body, demigod's body, Lord Brahma's body, animal's body, doesn't matter. It's just material body. Okay? Parabhavas tavada bodha jato yavan na jigyasata atmatatvam. And those who are uh, colored, those mind who is actually colored by fruitive activities, yavanna jigyasata atma tattvam, they will never inquire about the atma tattva, the 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 truth about the soul, the Atma Tattva. So the only way to raise ourselves is by engaging ourselves in devotional service, as it is mentioned by Lord Krishna. Okay, in the purport to text number 51, Srila Prabhupada quoted this very beautiful verse from Bhagavatam 10 Canto 14 chapter, text 58. Samasritasye padapallava plavam mahat padam punya shomurare bhavam buddhir vatsa padam 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 yadvi padam natesha. This is also a very classic verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So padam padam yadvi padam. Every step there is danger. Not tesam, but for those who taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. So there is no more dangers. So this material world is called Bhavam Buddhir, Bhava Sagar, material world, ocean, big ocean. But if we take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, of the boat of Krishna's lotus feet, then it will become Vatsa Padam. So this big ocean will become very insignificant, just like water contained in a calf hoof print. That's it. Text number 52. When your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. Purport. The Vedic rites and rituals are imperative for neophytes, comprehending all kinds of prayers 3 times a day, taking a bath early in the morning, offering respects to the forefathers, etc. But when one is fully in Krishna consciousness and is engaged in his transcendental loving service, one becomes indifferent to all these regulative principles because he has already attained perfection. If one can reach the platform of understanding by service to the Supreme Lord Krishna, he has no longer to execute different types of penances and sacrifices as recommended in the revealed scriptures. So actually, Srila Prabhupada, in this purport, he's referring to the uh, verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 11th canto, chapter 5, text number 41. Devarsi bhutapta nrinam pitrinam na kinkaro nayam rini charajam sarvatmanaya saranam saranyam gato mukundam parihritya karta. Those who have fully surrendered to Lord Mukunda, one who gives liberation, Devarsi bhutapta nrinam pitri, all these personalities mentioned, we have actually obligation toward them, to the demigods, because they supply, like to the sun god, they supply sunshine. To Chandra, he supply moon moon rays by which actually the vegetables will be nourished, and Indra provide rains, Vayu provides air, and so on and so forth. We are actually indebted by their service to the demigods. They were rishi. Without the rishis, we will not be able to catch up with this Vedic literatures, which is provided by them, the rishis. Devarsi, Bhuta. So because we live together with the Bhuta, actually we are uh, surrounded by these subtle beings, and in order for them not to disturb us, so we have to give them something. Devarsi Bhutata Nrinam Pitri, and our mother, our father, Pitrinam. But Naking Karo Nayam Rini, but we will no longer be indebted by all these personalities, provided that we have to fully surrender to Lord Mukunda, Lord Krishna. So how do we practically apply this principle? So this purport or this verse should not be taken uh, blindly. Okay, because especially I have witnessed in Indonesia, the country where I was born, the devotees immediately after reading this purport or finding this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, they become, very fanatic and giving up all their tradition. Actually, this is not very good because, of course, we understand that it's just useless tradition. But in order to keep the harmony in the society, so just follow the tradition. Just follow the tradition. No need to become like extremely fanatic, extremely fanatic. I have found this kind of devotee, and you know, people hate people hate the Hare Krishnas because of his behavior. So this actually not supposed to happen like this. Should not be taken in that way. We have to be able to analyze and see the desa, kala, and patra, time, place, and circumstances. Externally, we may perform whatever tradition in our uh, village, or especially in the village where I come from. The tradition is very thick, very, very condensed, very strong. So just follow that tradition externally. Don't take it very seriously. Just make people happy. In that way, actually, we try to show good example to the people that we're still following our tradition. At the same time, we are, you know, improving our spiritual activity, spiritual life. So this purport should not be taken blindly. Nagarjun Prabhu, you have question?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Uh, s- so generally in ISKCON, I hear that they do Pitru Paksha and all those things. So all these things are just for externally, or could you please tell me what is the real purpose behind
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Pitru Paksha, Prabhu? Thank you,
Yeah.
Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, even Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also he did this for his departed father, Jagannatha Mishra in Gaya. So when the devotee is performing this kind of sacrifice like Pitri, Jagya, so the purpose is that to help them in order to elevate their soul actually, because at that time we are offering pinda in the form of prasadam. So it is not, as far as the devotees are concerned, when we are performing this Pitri, Jagya, or whatever, that's actually for the purpose of helping. For example, not everybody in ISKCON uh, come from devotee family lineage. Okay, so it could be our grandfather or our departed father. They are non-devotees. So when we perform this Pinda or Shraddha ceremony, Pitri Jagya, that's actually for the purpose of helping them to improve to elevate their position. So they may become devotees in their next life. So our consciousness and the consciousness of the non-devotees while performing some rituals is actually different, because most of the people, the general people, they are performing ritual. It just out of their custom. It just, I don't want to say this, but I will say it just for show, like, okay, I'm doing this, so people recognize that I'm doing it. It is my obligation, duty to my forefather, for example. But as far as devotees are concerned, we are not only doing ritual, but we add the spirit into it. What is the spirit of performing Pitri Yagya, for example? Just to help our forefather to become Krishna conscious in their next life by offering this prasadam. Prasadam is very powerful and purifying. Even those who are in the ghost body, especially those who are in the ghost body, if you offer prasadam, they can become devotees in their next life and be freed from their ghost body. Actually, ghost body is very painful. They cannot enjoy. Why the ghosts? They used to disturb us because they want to occupy our gross body in order to enjoy. So we add the spirit into that ritual. So that becomes spiritual, not simply ritual, but we add the spirit. So we know the purpose. So that's different, yeah, between the devotees and non-devotees when performing any sacrifice, any yagyas like Pitri Yagya also. Yeah. Just like the devotees also we find worshipping cows, performing Go Puja during Govardhan Puja. We perform Go Puja, we worship cows, and we know that all the demigods, 33 crores demigods residing in the body of the cows. So we are performing puja indirectly to the demigods, but it is not considered to be uh, karma kanda because the devotee is having different consciousness. When the devotee is performing go puja, because we just want to please Krishna, that's it. Gochutitau prashanaso gopalupi prasidati. When we uh, please mother cows, gochutitau prasanaso, go, gopalopi prasidati. Gopal, Lord Krishna, prasidati, will become happy. So our purpose, taking care of the cows, worshipping the cows, just to please Krishna. But those who are karma kandis, normally in the some specific days, they used to go to Gosala, feed the cows, because they know that, especially in India, Gomata is so glorious. So they just want to get some piety out of it. But the devotees know the spirit, and it's different. Yeah. Seemingly, we are performing the same activities, but actually it's different. Just like Srila Prabhupada also explained, both the devotees and the non-devotees, we are working, we are maintaining our family, but the purpose is different. The non-devotees, they are working, they are maintaining their family for their sense gratification. But the devotees, they are working, they are maintaining their family because they want to engage them in Krishna consciousness. That's it. Uh, did that answer your question, Nagarjun Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, finally, the last verse, text number 53. When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. The purpose of Prabhupada mentioned, in Krishna consciousness, one comes directly into communion with Krishna, and thus all directions from Krishna may be understood in that transcendental state. One is sure to achieve result by such activities and attain conclusive knowledge. One has only to carry out the orders of Krishna or his representative, the spiritual master. You see, Srila Prabhupada emphasizing here that following Krishna's order means following the order of the spiritual master, because the living guru is actually the manifestation of the Chaita Guru or the Paramatma, because we cannot communicate directly with Paramatma. Therefore, the Paramatma, who is known as the Chaita Guru, manifests himself in the form of living guru. Okay, and living guru can tell us directly, you have to do like this, you have to do like this. So it is also one of the 10 offenses. If we don't follow the instruction of the spiritual master, it is called Gurur Avagya. 10 offenses to the holy name is that to disobey the order. One of the 10 offenses is to disobey the order of the spiritual master. Okay, because when we neglect Krishna's devotee, Krishna cannot tolerate that. Okay, because Krishna's devotee is very, very dear to Krishna. If we insult Krishna, if we neglect Krishna, Krishna can tolerate that. But if we offend Krishna's devotee, then Krishna cannot take it lightly. Krishna cannot tolerate that. So following the instruction of the spiritual master is very essential. Finally, the last slide. This is from the same purport, actually, Srila Prabhupada Vacha. The highest perfection of self-realization is to understand that one is eternally the servitor of Krishna, and that one's only business is to discharge one's duties in Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We have few minutes. If some of you have some question or comments, you can express that before I close today's class. Hare Krishna. Okay, if there is no, okay, Nagarjun Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Is spiritual master gives instructions to everyone, like everyone Prabhu. Like I hear that spiritual master give instructions only to few persons only, not everyone, according to our position.
Um, Spiritual master, actually, the instruction of the spiritual master received by the disciples, not necessarily made orally given to the disciple by the spiritual master, but his instruction can be detected by hearing his lecture, by reading books, for example, if he writes any book. So that's how we can detect actually what our spiritual master wants. So not necessarily awaiting for our Guru Maharaj, for example, for our Guru Maharaj to directly call us personally and give us some task. Well, that is one thing, but another thing is that by hearing his lecture, sometimes he express his desire that what he wants. Like different gurus in ISKCON, for example, they have different mission. Okay, let's take example like Vaisesika Prabhu. His mission is just to distribute Srila Prabhupada books, and His Holiness Lokanath Maharaj, his mission is just Harinam Sankirtan Padayatra, like this. And we see also different like Bhakti Vikas Maharaj or Bhakti Raga Swami Maharaj. Their mission is to strictly following the Varnashram, to establish farm communities, like Sivaram Maharaj also promoting Varnashram and farm communities. So we see like different spiritual masters, they have different mood, but still that their moods is actually just to please Srila Prabhupada ultimately. They want to distribute books because Srila Prabhupada pleased with that. Srila Prabhupada gave us instruction to do that. They want to have this Padayatra because Srila Prabhupada wanted that. They want uh, they want to establish Varnashram community uh, because Srila Prabhupada mentioned that. In fact, Srila Prabhupada mentioned this is actually the 50% my mission left over for all of you. So yeah, the conclusion is that not necessarily that you have to be called by your spiritual master and given personal instruction. That will be great, I think. But because not everybody get the chance, not everybody gets the chance to meet his spiritual master, especially uh, if we have a lot of God brothers and God sisters. It's very rare to get the opportunity to communicate directly with our spiritual master. Then we can take his instruction by listening his lecture. Then we can understand his mood by listening his lecture or his book if he writes any book. So that's another way to understand his desire, his instruction. Yeah, I was told by one of Srila Prabhupada's disciple that because when Srila Prabhupada is still present in the earth, it's very rare. Only prominent devotees, prominent disciple of Srila Prabhupada can meet Srila Prabhupada, talk with Srila Prabhupada personally, like this. But because Srila Prabhupada, he had like around 4,000 initiated disciples. Okay, and it's not possible, to get directly to communicate with Srila Prabhupada. So one devotee told me that one of my god brothers, in order to just to get the glance of Srila Prabhupada during kirtan, he would jump very high. He would jump very high just to get the glance of Srila Prabhupada. So for them to get Srila Prabhupada's glance is just like great achievement. It's very rare to get the glance of Srila Prabhupada. So yeah, that's my comment on that, because not everybody, not all of us get the chance to meet and talk personally directly with our spiritual masters. So we can understand their mood, their mission, their instruction through their lecture or books. Yeah. How is that, Nagarjun Prabhu? Was that
Thank you
answering
so much.
your question? Okay. If there is no more things, no more points to be discussed, I would like to end today's session. Thank you all very much for attending the class. Hare Krishna, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyascha Titanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.